Kawhi Leonard coming back to the San Antonio Spurs. Could and should it happen? What is up, San Antonio Spurs fans? Welcome to TSR Sports TGIF. And there are a lot of rumors going around about Kawhi Leonard possibly coming home. Obviously, I cover the Spurs here, so I need to address this. Let's get into what started this rumor in the first place, courtesy of Air Alamo. When it comes to potential trade talks, there are only two other teams that Kawhi Leonard would consider signing an extension with. The two teams he played for before becoming a Clipper. That's per Mark Stein. Of course, that would be the Toronto Raptors and our own San Antonio Spurs. Who would have thought the man who poured gasoline on the carpet and flicked a match on his way out would ever try to return home? San Antonio did their best to keep the house from collapsing, but eventually their only choice was to tear everything down and rebuild from the foundations up. And now that they're living lavishly in NBA Finals this year and a contender, you want your old room back. That's not a no, it's a hell no. All right, Alamo, how do you really feel? Look, Kawhi Leonard leaving absolutely destroyed this team. I like DeMar DeRozan, Jakob Poeltl, the pick that eventually became Keldon Johnson, but come on, it was not an even trade in the end. That being said, if Kawhi did not leave, we would not have the team we have right now. Maybe we would have won another championship, maybe not with his injury history. In the end, it worked out for both. Kawhi would win a ring in Toronto in his only season there, and the Spurs have an amazing young core. But still, let's get back to could and should it happen. Well, how's the could? This is from FanSided. This is a mock trade, if you will, that they came up with. Kawhi Leonard, and only Kawhi coming from the Clippers, for Devin Vassell, Luke Kornet, Carter Bryant, and 2 future first-round picks. All right, this is interesting as it fixes the Dylan Harper problem about whether he should start or not next year. He would start in this scenario, and I think our starters would be De'Aaron Fox, Dylan Harper, Stephon Castle, Kawhi Leonard, and Victor Wembanyama. Still a little bit smallish with the starting lineup, but a tour de force on defense. My goodness, you got the reigning defensive player of the year, 2-time former defensive player of the year in Kawhi. Stephon Castle is becoming a little defensive monster himself. Dylan Harper is becoming better than advertised in defense. De'Aaron Fox is no slouch either. So this would be a fantastic defensive starting lineup. Really the big change there would be Harper coming in the starting lineup for Vassell, and then Kawhi being an upgrade on Julian Champagnie. But our bench, if we trade away 3 players for 1, what happens to our bench? The primary bench would probably be Julian Champagnie, Keldon Johnson. I guess Terrence Reed Jr. would be our backup center now with Kornet being shipped out. David Jones-Garcia, Harrison Barnes, our second-round picks. Are they playing now? Maybe somebody in free agency? And the bench was an issue in the playoffs, and I think this would exacerbate the issue by giving up these 3 guys. So this scenario, for me, it's a no. And they also mentioned Keldon Johnson instead of Carter Bryant in this case, and just weaken the bench too much. But I know where you guys are going to be. I know where some of you are going to go in the comments. TSR, what about De'Aaron Fox and maybe picks for Kawhi Leonard straight up? Let's circle back to that. Let's talk about Kawhi for a second. A little bit more. I'm sure you know who he is if you're watching the video, but he is set to make $50 million next season. And I will concede he was great this season. Had his highest points per game. You can't see it because my big old head's in the way, but he averaged, I think it was 27.9 and a very efficient 51, 39, and 89. Averaged about 2 steals a game, and he did play in 65 games, so enough to qualify for any awards. So yeah, he was really good for the Clippers this year. But, and this is a big but, and I don't like this but, and I cannot lie. He has a long injury history. If you take a look, in the last 5 years, he has missed 188 games. Now, I do realize he missed all of 21 and 22, but if you go down the line, he missed 30 the following year. Then he missed, is that a 68? That 68 missed 14. Then he missed 45 and then 17 this year. I think it's safe to say that next season, it's probably a safe bet that he's going to miss 20 to 30 games because you see there's numerous times in his career he's played. These couple of times he's played 52, 57, so 20 to 30 games is not unreasonable. Staying healthy has never been Kawhi's strength since his last season with the Spurs. It's just been a ton of missed games. Kawhi Leonard back to the Spurs. Let's start wrapping things up. Could and should it happen? I suppose it could happen. Anything is possible. Seeing just the recent trade with Lonzo Ball for Naz Reid has me scratching my head like, what? If you asked me 3 years ago, would Giannis ever get traded from Milwaukee? I'm like, no, he's a Buck for life. Nope, he got the Buck out of there. Should it happen? This could probably surprise a lot of you guys, but should this happen? Absolutely. Not! No! No, 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 no. Even straight up for Fox. The Spurs have rebuilt and moved on from him. The last thing I want on this team is an injury-prone 35-year-old that forced his way out. And if you're not familiar with the Kawhi Leonard situation, if you're a newer fan, maybe just heard a little about it, I found this morning for y'all. This is from SB Nation, and they do a fantastic summary of where things started to where things ended with quotes left and right, some clips left and right. Seriously, if you've not looked into the situation and how this happened and how it divided the team, it's really good. I was surprised at how in-depth it was, so I'll put a link in the comments down below for y'all. Let's close it up. I don't think he's coming back. It's an interesting thought where, the guy that burned his bridges, is back on good terms. It seems like he's actually on good terms with the franchise as far as I can tell. Not on good term with the fan base, but fixes things with the franchise if there's anything left to be fixed. The fan base, I got to think, would be not happy. The majority. Some of you be happy he comes back. Some of you still have a number 2 jersey hanging somewhere. And guess what? He ain't going to be number 2 if he comes back. We have our number 2 in Dylan Harper. But if he was to come back and the Spurs were to win a championship with him, then I think all would be forgiven at that point. You'd be like, okay, you made things right. He comes back. Maybe apologize to the fans the way he left. I think that would go a long way. And then the Spurs win a ring this season. Yeah, I got to say, that's an intriguing story. It's kind of a Cinderella story where the guy that left on bad terms comes back and then a happy ending. It's a happy ending, if you will. I just don't see it happening. The De'Aaron Fox trade for Kawhi, I don't think that looks good, trading him just after a year and a half, bringing him in, and he wanted to come here. I think he needs to stay here at least another season, and I'm not sure the Clippers would even do that. As far as trading so many players for him, at least 3 players to get a salary match, such as Kornet, Devin, and Devin was great in the playoffs, by the way. It really, really impressed me. And another player, whether it's Carter or Keldon, just depleting our bench like that, unless the Spurs really think all 4, 3 of the guys they drafted are good to go right away because Jaden Quinton's Jr. is not going to... Jaden Quinton's Jr., I got juniors in my head now, Terrace Reed. With Jaden Quinton's, JQ is not going to play, more than likely not going to play this season. I think Terrace Reed Jr. is going to see minutes. The other 2 guys, Jacoby Malik, we'll see. Can't deplete our bench like that. Whether you love or hate the guys that would be coming, they're leaving that are currently on the bench. We had such issues. Our bench got exposed so heavily in the playoffs, especially against the Knicks, when we were basically down to a 7-man rotation with Harper and Johnson coming off the bench, and a few minutes here and there by Kornet and Carter Bryant. It was awful. I could not believe we started the season talking about how great our depth was. And that kind of stayed there throughout most of the season. And in the playoffs, we watched our bench just the minutes shrink, the production shrink, and we were getting almost nothing minus, of course, Dylan Harper. No, I don't think this happens. If it does, I'll root for him. I'll say welcome back. Prove me wrong. Show the world that you're going to make things right. And if they win a championship, then yes, I'd probably be all in the all that's forgiven boat, if you will. But I don't think it's happening. And that's all I got. Comment down below, guys. I got a little long-winded there. I'm sorry. Do you want Kawhi Leonard back? If so, why and what would you give up for him? And if you're on the other side of the fence, if you do not want Kawhi Leonard back, is it just because of the way he left, or is it some of the other points I made out, especially the injuries? The injury is just the big thing. The way he left is a concern. The injury and what it would do to our bench if we were to give up multiple players. Even if we just give up De'Aaron Fox, I worry that might not be a good look either. So that's all I got. Hit the thumbs up if you enjoyed the video and want to help support the channel. And subscribe to become part of our awesome Spurs community and for more Spurs content. Have a great weekend. Thank you, and as always, free agent video will be probably coming tomorrow. I almost forgot. I did say do a video on free agency. This took that video's place today. I should be able to do a video tomorrow. That's all I got. Thank you, and as always, go Spurs go!